started on the journey home. Strange sensations raised the hair on the back of her neck, but subsided as quickly as she noticed them. At first, she'd blamed them on her growing anxiety over her homecoming, as she and her Lathan escort made their way carefully through the Campbell lands and drew closer to the coast and MacDugall territory. She felt moods she could not claim as her own, gone as quickly as she recognised them. She'd assumed she was still in the grip of her madness, certain her own emotions plagued her, changing wildly from numbness to disgust, amusement, even satisfaction. She'd been surrounded by people on arrival, and she blamed what she felt then on exhaustion from her journey. But nay, the idea had come to her slowly. She somehow sensed the emotions of her escort and the crowd. The MacDugall healer had recommended a time of quiet reflection to soothe her before she rejoined the life of the clan, so she'd spent much of her time in her chamber, or walking these cliffs and down to the beach, alone, undisturbed, wrapped in the numbness that had protected her since leaving the Eyrie. She turned her face into the wind and let it blow her hair in a stream behind her. A few strands whipped around her nose and mouth in quick, irritating flicks, like the hints of emotion that she got from others. Lately, she realised she knew when someone was nearby, even if she did not see or hear them. Nothing was the same. She was not the same person she'd been only weeks ago. But she must answer for what she'd done. What would the MacDugall decide? To hang her from the dual tree, there at the edge of the woods beyond the keep, where the clan's criminals traditionally met their fate? Her hand pressed against the smooth skin of her throat. Perhaps they would not hang her, rather merely finish the job Donal MacNab's blade had begun. Nay, they would do nothing so drastic. Thankfully, her victim had not died, or death would have been her fate as well, if she'd survived Lathan blades. Without healer Ileana's intervention, she would not be standing here now. Time in the dungeon, then, or as a scullery maid, or put to cleaning chamber pots. Or, where was her anger? How could she face such a future without emotion? The sun peeked from behind tattered clouds. She shielded her eyes from the glare. Today was considered a calm day on the coast, but the wind off the water had a chilling bite along with the salty tang. Midwinter was still more than a month away, but the sea air carried nearly as much cold as the air at the higher elevation and more northerly climate of the Highlands. Shivering, she gathered her shawl tightly around her shoulders. Perhaps it was more than the cold. Was it nerves or fear that had her insides quaking? Perhaps she'd finally come to her senses. Seabirds wheeled and screeched above her. Would she hear their cries after today? She hoped so. Something else had changed that gave her a glimmer of hope. The old laird who'd sent her to the Lathans as a prospective bride had died while she was away. He would have been outraged by her crime, but would have deemed the worst part of her betrayal her failure to secure a marriage. He had wanted an alliance to benefit the clan in its constant struggle with the Campbells. People she overheard in the halls still spoke of the years of unrest and successive battles as factions in the clan fought for control. That strife lasted until the old laird's nephew, a distant cousin of hers, had been named laird just a few weeks before her return. She hadn't seen him yet, but she would today. She'd been summoned to face the consequences of her actions and accept the punishment of her clan. Who would attend her audience with the laird? How many emotions would bombard her newfound sense with disgust, anger, and embarrassment? It mattered not. She straightened her shoulders and regarded the stone edifice looming over her. Like it, she was proud and strong, and changed. The old Coira would have stood her ground and glared her contempt at any who dared to judge her. Her breath faltered. Would she be able to maintain her dignity? Or would she be reduced to pleading for the laird's mercy? What would the new Coira do? For a moment she squeezed her eyes shut against the humiliating scene she imagined. Nay, she would bear whatever came to her. Nothing they could do to her would make up for what she had done in the Highlands. Chin lifted, she followed the path back to the gates. It was time to face her past. After the windy